Flight Director Lateral Modes. There are 8 lateral flight director modes. Takeoff. Roll, which is the default mode. Navigation, such as FMS and VOR. Heading. Go around. Back course. Half bank. Approach. Pressing the associated FCP push button arms or activates the lateral mode. Disabling an active lateral mode is accomplished by pressing the active mode push button again or by selecting another lateral mode. Lateral takeoff mode. Lateral takeoff mode generates a heading hold command once airborne with a 5-degree bank angle limit. Pushing one of the takeoff go-around switches prior to commencement of the takeoff roll activates the lateral and vertical takeoff modes. Lateral takeoff mode is enunciated with a green TO message in the lateral active field of the FMA. Roll mode. Whenever the autopilot is selected and no other vertical or lateral mode are engaged, the flight director automatically defaults to the basic roll mode. If at the time of autopilot engagement the bank angle is less than 5 degrees, the aircraft wings roll level. If the bank angle is greater than 5 degrees, the flight director maintains the bank angle sensed at time of engagement. Heading Select Mode. Heading Select Mode and knob generate commands to capture and maintain a pilot-selected heading. Selected headings are defined by a digital heading readout and heading bug on the PFD. Heading Select Mode is selected by pushing the heading push button on the FCP. Pressing the push button in the center of the knob resets the heading bug and digital readout to the current aircraft heading. Heading Select Mode is enunciated with lights on the side of the heading push button and a green heading message in the lateral active field of the FMA. Nav Mode. Navigation mode generates commands to capture and track the navigation source as selected at the nav source knob on the display control panel. The nav sources are FMS, VOR, Localizer. In nav mode, the FCC FD captures then tracks a VOR or localizer signal, or it responds to the flight guidance commands generated by the FMS. Nav mode is selected by pressing the nav push button on the FCP. The navigation mode is armed when selected, but cannot be captured if the FCC is not receiving valid navigation data. Nav mode indication. When the nav push button is selected, the nav mode indications are presented on the FMA for the selected source. ILS frequency 109.3 and course are set. Approach mode. Approach mode generates commands to capture and track the selected localizer. Tracking performance is more sensitive than in the nav mode. Pressing the approach switch on the FCP arms the approach mode. ILS frequency 109.3 is set on the RTU. The inbound course of 059 is set on the Course 1 knob. When the approach mode is selected, both flight directors actively and independently provide guidance information. The pilot's PFD receives instructions from FCC 1, the co-pilot's PFD from FCC 2. Approach mode indications. Approach mode automatically selects the vertical glide slope mode. An onside localizer capture clears the autopilot turbulence mode and the half bank and heading modes. Back course mode. Back course mode generates commands to capture and track the selected localizer back course. Back course mode is selected by pressing the back course push button on the FCP. Back course steering information is invalidated when the navigation source is not a localizer. Back course arming is enunciated by two green lights on the side of the back course push button and a white back course message in the lateral armed field of the FMA. Back course capture is enunciated with a green message in the lateral active field of the FMA. Back course capture clears turbulence, half back, and heading modes. Note: lateral go-around mode. When airborne, pressing either toga switch automatically activates the lateral and vertical go-around modes. Lateral go-around mode generates a heading hold command with a 5-degree bank angle limit. Lateral go-around is enunciated with a green GA message in the lateral capture field of the FMA. Pushing the toga push button causes the autopilot to disengage. The resultant autopilot warning may be canceled by another push of the toga push button or by pushing the autopilot disconnect push button on the control wheel. Half bank mode. Half bank mode is automatically selected when climbing through a pressure altitude of 31,600 feet. Half bank is automatically cleared when descending through the half bank transition altitude. Selection is inhibited when in the takeoff mode, go-around mode, on-side approach mode capture, or any on-side localizer capture.